My name is Michele Burgess. I am a faculty advisor with the Prison Arts Collective, which is based at San Diego State University in California. I'm an artist who works primarily in the medium of artist books, which includes printmaking and drawing and sculpture even sometimes. And I have always thought that I would love to teach book arts in the prisons because I had a feeling that there were so many stories that could be told or that could be discovered while making artist books or validated. So because book arts is it's a natural storytelling medium, either through metaphorical use of materials or serial imagery, which is, I guess, the most obvious use of book arts. So I approached Annie Buckley, who was the founder of the Prison Arts Collective. She founded it out of CSU San Bernardino in 2013. And it is the only kind of university-based collaboration with transformative arts in prisons in California. And there are about 6 campuses where faculty, students, and volunteers collaborate on arts programming for people who are experiencing incarceration. I started working with the Prison Arts Collective in last February. And as soon as I was going to be going in to work with the participants, COVID happened that weekend before I was supposed to go in. So we completely transformed our approach and created a distance learning program. So I became a faculty advisor assisting the teachers in creating these packets, and we sent over 4,000 of them into various prisons. And it became like a correspondence course. So I was involved in helping create the lessons and then giving feedback to the participants, which we mail in. We write it out and mail it in. I think that it was very difficult at the beginning, and they weren't very inspired. But we did try to incorporate, all the 4 components of a regular in-person lesson, which is creating a safe space, art history and culture small lesson, a practice, and then reflection afterwards and feedback. So we were able to do that, but in a written form. I think that the teaching at PAC has been incredibly impactful on my spirit and on my emotions while I'm working. I feel, because I've witnessed how transformative it is for the people inside to have the freedom of expression. They don't have freedom of materials. I feel very fortunate to have the materials to work with now that I have always had. And also I've become more resourceful with my materials in that I've had to teach bookbinding without needles, without cutting materials, without glue, without rulers. And that's been impactful, I think, on my feelings about just making work regardless of what my limitations are. And I also feel more, I guess, when you're making art and it's considered kind of self-absorbed, I'm very positive that that's not a problem for me, because I think through the self, there's a quote that I think about a lot by Nancy Willard, who is a poet, that the artist is the window through which the light shines to illuminate the subject. And I see that so clearly in the students. There's so much that they can tell us about their experiences. I've learned so much about what they've gone through, and also very serious issues with the criminal justice system that have been pointed out just through their being able to be human and be creative and be in a community creating and collaborating. I know that one thing that makes PAC very special is that alumni who are justice impacted are invited to join when they are outside, after they've left prison. They are on our team. We're all working together. And they're invited to reach out when they get out, and some of them have served now as teachers or staff or interns. Also, while they're inside, people who have worked through all the art classes, or enough of the art classes, can go through a facilitator training program, which is a 6-month program where they learn how to facilitate arts programs within the prison. I think the collaborative between the students at the university, the faculty at the university, and even the community resource managers in the prison that decide whether to allow us to have the programs. I think we're all collaborating together to make it a powerful thing and a positive thing. I guess what I would say to students who are interested in involving themselves as artists in the criminal justice system, that it's an extraordinarily affirming and positive experience. And it helps create empathy, which is a very important tool for making art, is empathy. And it also helps, when I think teaching as an artist and as a teacher, every single person that you teach teaches you something. And so after school or during school, it's an opportunity to learn so much by creating lessons and by facing all the limitations that you have to face, and sharing with other humans, regardless of what their vulnerabilities or challenges are, directly, one-on-one, or as a group. The Prison Arts Collective has one program called the Visiting Artists Program, and I did mine virtually or through a distance package because I joined right before COVID, but artists are invited to go in and show their work, show examples of their work, talk about their practice, talk about their techniques and their themes for the audience of inmates and people who are interested in being creative. So there are also, in addition to visual art, there's also dance, there's also yoga, there's also art history and theory, and there's always time for reflection and sharing in a safe space. So one of the big focuses is creating, when you first begin the class, there's sort of 4 stages. The first stage is creating a safe space for everyone to feel comfortable. So you can set ground rules. We set ground rules about negative commentary and allowing everyone to speak, but only speaking in terms of one's self and not about anybody else. And we do breathing exercises or different contemplative or mindfulness exercises at the very beginning. And the inmates are so open to that and so enjoy that part. I was surprised at how open they were to be doing that. People involve, other artists that they know to be doing the visiting artist program, and we try to involve artists of all mediums, and obviously a very diverse group of artists of all ages and races and approaches. You can reach out online if you would like to be a visiting artist, and contact either Jamie Pelusi at the Prison Arts Collective at San Diego State University, or Annie Buckley, who's the founder and the director, or also we have a wonderful person named Sophie Vredelis, who's in charge of all the social media and she and the advertising and all the outside communications, and she knows everything about everybody and who to contact as well. You can also tell me and I'll pass it along, but that would be fantastic. I think the more the better. So the program that I'm doing is we're doing an exhibition this coming spring, which will be part of a big, it's called Arts Alive program at the university, where we sent in copies of Wallace Stevens' poem, 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird, which is also about, everybody sees the same thing in a different way or in a unique way. And we asked them if they could do a drawing. The participants who decide they want to do a drawing and send it in, which will be exhibited. And then my students in my book class are going to create a letterpress printed and fine press edition of the book, which will be sold to raise more money to support their programming. And then there'll be a dance performance based on the poem, and a panel discussion, which will include one of my former students, who is the executive director of the New York Center for the Book, and somebody from the Criminal Justice Department, and some artists, and the librarian in special collections who's been collecting the examples of my students' works for many years. So that should be very exciting, and I've gotten some amazing, powerful submissions